Welcome back to the Pine Grove Briar, the podcast that unearths the hidden histories and unsettling mysteries and the forgotten corners, most of the time, of Appalachia. A briar, as many of you know, is more than just a thorny bush. It's the gnarled wood used to craft a pipe like the one I'm smoking now, meant for moments of quiet contemplation, for sitting by a fire and letting the day's events settle in a cloud of smoke. Tonight we're going to need all the quiet contemplation we can muster, because we're traveling far from these hills to a place where a family was utterly annihilated and where the perpetrator walked away, never to be found. The year is 1922. The place is a small, isolated farm in Bavaria, Germany. A farm with a name that's whispered in hushed tones by true crime aficionados and paranormal investigators alike. Hinterkaifeck. For our American listeners, a quick pronunciation guide. Say it with me. Hinterkaifeck. Hinterkaifeck. A name that now symbolizes one of history's most confounding and terrifying unsolved mysteries. This isn't just a story about murder. It's a story of a profound and creeping dread that began long before the bloodshed. A chilling series of events that suggest something truly sinister was at play, leaving us to wonder if the killer was merely a man or if he was a shadow, a ghost, an embodiment of pure evil that simply vanished back into the mist from which he came. Our story begins with the Gruber family. Andreas Gruber, the patriarch, was a hard, stubborn man. He lived on the farm with his wife, Cecilia, their widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel, and Victoria's two children, Cecilia and Joseph. They had just hired a new maid, a woman named Maria Baumgartner, who arrived on March 31st, 1922. Maria was the latest in a string of maids who had come and gone. The previous maid, in fact, had quit just 6 months earlier, claiming the farm was haunted. She'd heard noises in the attic and felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The Grubers just dismissed her fears, but soon they were experiencing their own. Andreas found a newspaper on his front porch that he didn't buy. He told his neighbors, "It's the strangest thing. It's a paper from the city, but it was just laying there. And no one could have come up the path. The snow was fresh." A few days later, Andreas told a neighbor that he had heard footsteps in the attic. They would stop when he went to listen, but resume when he walked away. He even went up into the attic, but found nothing. He believed it was a prank, and just dismissed it as such. But the feeling of being watched, of something being wrong, was growing. These old stories are like good tobacco. You have to pack them in, let them settle, and really think about the details. The details here are unnerving. The key to the house goes missing. A cellar key to a locked cellar. Andreas finds a set of footprints in the fresh snow, leading from the forest to the house, but none leading away, as if someone just materialized. This wasn't a family living in paranoia. This was a family experiencing something profoundly unsettling. Something was at their door, and it was scratching to get in. We'll get back to the Grubers here in a moment, but if this tale of an old family and unsettling happenings has you want to dive into some iconic pop culture, I've got the perfect spot for you. Our sponsor today is Old Glory, the ultimate destination for officially licensed merchandise for fans of music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture. Since 1969, this family-owned superstore has provided high-quality gear for fans like us. They have over 300,000 officially licensed items, so you can find a classic graphic tee for a legendary band like the Beatles or the Grateful Dead, or an official hoodie for your favorite NFL or NBA team. They offer free standard shipping on all orders, and they process them the same day you purchase. I even earn a commission when you use my code. And here's the best part. I've arranged for the highest exclusive discount for you, my listeners. Head over to oldglory.com and use my promo code PGBPromo and check at checkout to get an exclusive 15% off your entire order. That's oldglory.com, code PGBPromo. So back to our story. On the night of March 31st, 1922, the new maid, Maria, settled into her room for the night. Sometime after she went to bed, something unimaginable happened. On April 4th, concerned neighbors noticed that the Grubers had missed their morning coffee meeting, and the children, Kazelia and Yosef, had not been to school for several days. So, a small search party was formed. They found the farm eerily quiet. The doors were locked. They saw smoke coming from the chimney and a dog tied up in the yard. Inside, the animal seemed to have been fed. The neighbors broke in. They found the first two bodies in the barn. Andreas Gruber and his wife Kazilia. They had been killed with a single blunt object. Up in the barn, they found Victoria, her daughter Kazilia, and a young man's body. A body that was later identified as a neighbor's son who was just passing by. They were all bludgeoned to death. And then they found the last victim. In her bed, in her room, was the new maid Maria. She had been the last to die. The crime scene was unlike anything they had ever seen. There was no sign of a struggle. All 6 victims had been lured into the barn, one by one, before being killed. But the most horrifying detail was what happened next. The killer stayed. The killer stayed for 3 days. He lived among the dead. He fed the livestock. He ate food from the kitchen, and even packed the new maid's clothing away. No one heard a sound. Hey, remember, if this story's getting to you, you can find some awesome fan gear at oldglory.com using code PGBPromo for 15% off your entire order. And I'll even get a commission. So the police investigation was a disaster. The local authorities were overwhelmed, of course. Over 100 people were interviewed, and every suspect was eventually ruled out. The murder weapon was likely a pickaxe found on the property. but it was wiped clean. Let's face it, this is 1922. The killer left no fingerprints, no DNA, no nothing. Had he even left DNA, this was 1922 again, so probably not going to be able to check for DNA back then. The motive was completely absent. Robbery was ruled out. Valuables and cash were left untouched. There was no clear personal grudge. The case went cold almost instantly. So, if we can't find a human answer, what are we left with? The bizarre circumstances that preceded the murder have led to a number of alternative theories. Some believe the murder was a phantom or poltergeist. The footprints leading to the farm and not away, the footsteps in the attic, the feeling of dread, these all point to something unnatural. The very idea that a person could live with their victims for 3 days without a trace of guilt or emotion seems less human and more monstrous. Others believe it was a case of interdimensional travel or a portal that opened up at Hinterkaifeck, allowing a being to cross into our world, commit a horrifying act, and then simply return. I know that's way out there and wild speculation, but it's a theory that was born out of sheer absence of any rational explanation. A good story, like a good pop, needs to be well-rounded, and there's no way to talk about Hinterkaifeck without acknowledging the chilling fact that it just doesn't make sense. And just a quick reminder before we wrap up that exclusive 15% off at oldglory.com is waiting for you with your code PGB promo, and I'll get a commission. To this day, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved. The farm itself was torn down a year later. Locals refused to live there, claiming that the land was cursed. A small memorial now stands where the house once was, but it's a memorial to a question, not an answer. The killer, if they were a person, likely walked free and lived out their life. The murders inspired countless books, films, documentaries, and the like, but the silence from the killer is deafening. Did he simply just melt back into society? Was he a neighbor who was right there all along? Or was he something else entirely? The case of Hinterkaifeck stands as a testament to the fact that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. Some evils are so profound, so lacking in a recognizable motive that they just seem to come from a place outside of our understanding. Like the cold smoke on a winter's night, they just simply dissipate, leaving a lingering chill and the question of what just happened. This is a story that makes you want to pack a bowl and just stare into the fire, trying to make sense of the shadows. Sometimes they're just shadows. That's all for this episode of the Pine Grove Briar. Join us next time as we delve into another forgotten tale or some true crime mystery. Until then, keep your pipes lit, your story's true, and watch the shadow. And don't forget to visit oldglory.com and use my exclusive promo code PGB promo for 15% off your entire order. Guess who gets a commission off of that? Yours truly. Until next time, keep your pipes lit, your story's true.